Due to the graphic nature of its content, listener discretion is advised.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight.
On this episode of Cigars and series, Mike and Juslin have a great conversation with their pal and fellow Marine, Josh Mattfeld.
Dude, that's the best right there. See, that's my biggest thing. I just didn't fucking realize what it was going to be like, because I got out and wound up moving up to Boston, right? And, you know, there are good people in Boston, don't get me wrong, but, like, Jesus freaking Christ, man, like, if you're a veteran, it's one of those things where it's like they either look at you and they automatically think you're nuts, right, 9 times out of 10, or it's like, oh, you know, where'd you serve? And it's like, oh, I was in Iraq and Afghanistan. They're like, oh, I'm sorry that you had to do that. And it's like, what? I served in 2 wars before the age of 25. That's fucking awesome. But the thing is, though, is that you can't express that. Like, when you're around veterans and stuff, obviously you can. And when you're around Marines and you start talking in acronyms and all of this other shit, you know, where civilians wouldn't... If I say kill bodies, what do you say, Mattfeld?
Hoorah.
What do you say, Jocelyn?
Eat babies. Kill bodies, eat babies.
There you go.
That's what people say. And it just... Oh, Mothers of America hears this shit. They'll fucking freak the fuck
them.
out.
Good. Let them.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. You got to click download on this cast. That's one of the things.
You chose this.
Yeah, sorry, ma'am, if you stumbled across this. This is Uncle
Dude,
Sam's Misguided Children.
Roughly about a year after I got out, I went back to California. I took my my younger brother, who's like 3 years younger than me. We ended up at 29 Palms because my ID was still valid. And so I went and saw like Parker and, you know, a bunch of our junior Marines. And my brother, still to this day, if you ask him, he'll say, if you ever have a chance to drink with a Marine, don't, because you can't keep up. And if you ever talk with a Marine, you'll never understand a damn thing he says because they just talk in acronyms, and only they have their own language.
Right. Yep, we're OFP. That's right. That's how it works.
OFP.
OFP.
That's
Do you know how high speed, low drag I am? HSLD. That's how high speed, low drag I am. Just want you to know
the
that.
acronym for the words.
Yep. Another thing people don't understand, and I have said this before to numerous folks, is Mattfeld and I would clack Kevlars and say, it's a good day for a drive.
Yep.
And that was one of those things, man. I think about that routinely before I swear to God, before I hop in my Vic. Because where I live out here, so that you understand, right? I've been blessed, man. Let me tell you right now. I wound up finding a great group of folks down here and all of this other stuff, but I've got this log cabin. It sits on 20 acres. We can shoot guns and do all sorts of fun stuff. It's awesome. But whenever I leave Fob Invictus, as I like to call it, I go through my pre-patrol prep. And every once in a while, you got to bust out the pre-combat power stance. That's one of those. Of course. No big whoop. And then I think of Mattfeld. It's a good day for a drive.
Day for a drive. I forgot about that, man.
Yep.
That's awesome.
You and that fucking high back.
Amen.
Oh, dear God. That was the only Vic for the longest time that had good air conditioning, though. Remember that shit?
Until it blew up because it got sucked up with sand.
Right.
And then I'd have to give, was it, I forget if it was Lumen or Loomis, the Motor T guy. Dude, I'd go to the Haji store and have to buy him a carton of cigarettes for like $5 fucking.
Lumen. It was Lumen.
Is it Lumen?
Yeah. Loomis was that gothic guy from like one of the line companies.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So Lumen, dude, like, I
That
take
guy
my
was
high back
cool
to
as
him.
shit,
Hey,
by the way.
what's that?
That guy was cool as shit, by the way.
Loomis?
Yeah, Lumen.
Yeah. Oh, Lumen.
The
Yeah.
Motor T guy you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. But I'd be like, hey, you know, my turbo's gone, my AC's gone, I've got nothing left. This thing's got no power. I'll get to it when I can get to it. And then I go buy him a carton of smokes. I toss him a carton of Marb Reds. Hey, I need this thing fixed. It'll be ready by the morning. Don't worry about it.
I keep telling people the Corps is like prison with guns. Okay? It's just, you know.
And my truck went straight to the front of the line.
There you go. Oh fuck, dude!
That's good
Remember when
times,
we
man.
had to change out the fucking the doors and the windshields and you had to
dude,
like
anytime you get hit by anything,
Jesus.
it was like
Well, that was
14-hour
after
process.
that was after I got hit on South Colton G.
Oh yeah, was that when we pulled into that one weird like parking lot area?
The fire station.
Yeah, and I changed your fucking tire.
Yeah.
You were like white knuckled on that fucking steering wheel, man. When I opened the door, I was just like, Mattfeld, you all right? And you're like, going, are you okay? You're like, yeah, man. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna change your tire. Okay,
I freaked out, man. Like,
dude,
not
you
that I was
rightfully
done doing my
should.
job because I was still at the steering wheel, but I mean, I knew I had run flats. We were good until we got back to base, but like, that was heavy, man.
Hell yes, that was fucking nuts, dude. Do you remember?
All right.
Who was
All right,
your
so-
VC? Who kept screaming Mattfeld's dead?
Mattfeld's dead.
Mattfeld, and I can hear this over the squawk box, and I start laughing my ass off. And Callahan's going, "Why are you laughing? Mattfeld could be injured." And I'm like, if Mattfeld's injured, who the fuck keeps following me through all of these fucking alleyways and turns and shit? Okay, he's driving the goddamn truck. He can't be dead. You know, he got blown sideways, but he's not dead. We had taken like 4 or 5 turns, and the guy's screaming, "Mattfeld's dead!" It's like, no, he's fine. He's running on nerves right now, but he's fine.
Was he?
Dear
Was
God.
that over, like comm gear or PRRs?
It was over comm gear.
It was over
He's
common.
just
It was over company net.
Damn, dude.
It was.
Well, you could tell he cared about you, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, it was a banger of an IED. It was one of those where it was like, because it cocked you sideways for a bit, didn't it?
Oh, dude, it shifted me from. I mean, you know how you usually drove down like the center of the road?
Yeah.
Well, it was right by that, like, was it a playground or like an amusement park kind of thing?
Oh yeah.
I can't remember. I remember it had like a Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
It was by 296, wasn't it?
What's that?
It was over in the eastern portion of town, though. It was over near 296, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was a little south.
Okay. Yep.
And I can't remember exactly what it was, but I wasn't driving in the center of the road. But I was driving on like the British right side of the road, you know, like the correct side of the road. I was
Right.
driving the left-hand side, and it blew, and it shifted my whole truck to the other side of the road.
Oh Jesus.
Like it pushed me all the way over. Like I would like, you know how we used to like drive in like a staggered stance.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, well, it blew me over to the other side of the road, so I was on the same side of the road as the truck behind me.
Jesus.
And it just, I mean, it knocked me fucking sideways. But, so I need some help.
What's up?
A thought. So, you know, I'm assuming both of you guys have seen American Sniper or read the book.
I have not seen it.
No.
No, not yet.
I
You
saw
should.
it.
You should.
Okay.
Well, Chris Kyle spent a little bit of time he spent some time in Ramadi right around the same time we were all there.
Right.
Well, it was between our deployments. It was between 05 and 07, right? He was there 06?
No, I'm pretty sure our deployments overlapped.
Oh, see, I thought he got in zone around and again, I didn't read the book, but I thought he got in zone around March of 2006. So we were there for because I thought that they were depicting 3-8 was the time
Okay,
frame.
well,
I don't know.
That actually might answer my question, but I'm having a hard time remembering what SEAL unit was there, but I know Penny was there for this. Remember when we were out escorting the SEALs around? They were looking for a hide.
Yes.
And we got called out since we were already out in the Ville. We got called out on QRF because EOD. They went to go look for an IED and to take care of one, but they ended up parking on top of one.
Yep.
And it blew. And again, I was the high-vac driver. And
yep.
We got into that huge firefight, man. That firefight lasted a minute or two.
That was 342 is what you're talking about.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
That's right. That SEAL commander and one other guy had gone with us just on a recon mission. Just those two guys, right?
Yeah, they were looking for hides that they were going to take that night or, a couple nights post when that happened. We were driving them around. They were looking for hides that they may or may not want to take. And we're driving around and, we get called in for QRF and.
That's right. Because remember when we got back, well, he gave us serious amounts of praise.
Did he?
Yeah, I remember he gave us serious amounts of praise. Because remember we inserted him 2 or 3 more times later on.
Right, yeah.
Because I remember he did that debrief. Remember the sidewalk in front of the hooch on our first tour?
Yep.
We were all out there, and I remember it was so funky because we always usually debriefed in the back.
Yep.
But he just stopped us and was like, "Hey, gents, I'm not going to be around for the hot wash," as he put it. But he was like, "I just want you to know you guys are fucking crazy. You're all a bunch of fucking cowboys." And I would never have anybody else insert my team except for you guys.
Amen.
And it was just like, fuck yes! It was,
right.
You know what I mean? That was
3-7, the
hardcore.
last Cowboys in the Marine Corps.
Dude, that was so much fun.
But I'll never forget that day, dude. We got into that hot firefight. And then I'm sitting in my high back, which is something I actually, really actually struggle with. As a driver, you're supposed to stay with your truck.
Right.
You're supposed to be the driver. You sit in the fucking driver's seat and you go where you need to go. But at the same time, I never left my truck, and I really struggle with the fact that I never got out and supported by fire, even though we had plenty of gunmen there.
Right.
Should I have gotten out? Should I have not gotten out? I was doing my job at the same time. I'm a rifleman. I should be out there squeezing triggers.
Right.
But sitting in my driver's seat, I'll never forget Flynn, dude. Flynn was taking cover in front of my truck, and I see Flynn's head pop up over the hood, just his head. And Flynn, he raises his eyebrows, his eyes get real big, and he goes, with his mouth, I can't obviously hear what he's saying, but he goes, "Oh, fuck." And I go, "Get in." I'm pointing at the VC seat. "Get in, get in." and he comes around and gets into the truck and he just goes, "Holy shit, man. This is nuts." But I'll never forget that. Just the head of Flynn just peeking over the top. His eyes as big as saucers. Oh shit.
Oh, dear God. Yeah, man. Well, in that firefight, I was facing north. I was the lead truck driver, remember? And I was facing north. Willie was facing north. How do you think Willie felt? His gun was entirely shut off from any fire.
Right.
But it was crazy because remember Kutzvan? I don't know if you remember him. He was Laotian. The kid was 4 foot nothing with a 6 foot mouth that could spike a volleyball. calves like Popeye's forearms.
Yep.
And he was standing. Remember how they used to have to raise the gunners' platforms for the little short arses? So
Yep.
he's standing up there just getting some with a Ma Deuce facing south. Just smoking fucking dudes. Remember how that Vic... There was one vehicle that had popped around the corner, and he wound up just... Because when we... So, from my perspective, what had happened is, before QRF, I was out running. And if you remember, that didn't happen very shortly thereafter we had gotten on QRF. Or excuse me, it wasn't on QRF. We were doing that mission.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Right.
we were out.
But I was out, and I had gone for a PT run, and I had asked Doc from EOD if I could have a couple of Motrin. And I wound up swinging around by the clearing barrels and coming back up the main road and stuff. And, I was done with my workout or whatever. Later on, when we did that, we wound up reacting. And they were like, the QRF call happened when we were around, like, OPVA, making our way eastbound on Michigan. And they were like, do you know where 342 is? And I was like, I do, and I can see that black pillar of smoke out there.
Yep.
And then when we rolled up on scene, that corpsman, Master Blaster, one of the other gentlemen that was out there, they were all laying in the street. And it was like you had to weave through, essentially, where the IED had gone off.
Yep.
In order to get into position, and they put me facing north, so that way they could use it as, like, because we had battalion TAC.
Right.
That was it. And so it was like, well, shit. And I think I still had a mirror at that point so that I could see some of what was going on, and then I poked my head out the driver's side door occasionally and stuff. But the craziest thing, in my opinion, that happened that day on 342, aside from running guys back over to Charlie Med, was, remember how we had to go back for that fucking EOD robot?
Fucking robot, dude.
Dude,
I think I had probably 4 or 5 dead in the back of my truck.
ugh.
I remember, honestly, like, if we're talking serious right now, like, I still can't watch burned bodies on movies or anything like that because it just takes me right back there, those guys were fucking black to a crisp, but I had all those guys in the back of my truck, and we started driving back to Ramadi Med, and then we got to, like, 2 streets from Michigan, and they were like, you got to turn around.
Ugh.
It was like, fuck no, dude. Like, get me the fuck out of this shit. We just spent a half hour at a goddamn firefight. I just want to get out of here.
Yep.
And then we turned around, and then we had to, on top of all the fucking dead bodies, dude, we had the fucking robot onto that fucking truck. Oh.
Yep.
God, that
Dude,
fucking sucked.
That fucking highback saw it like the worst of Ramadi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you were the ambulance driver and I was the ambulance driver when we would do QRF missions and all sorts of stuff like that.
Right.
And it was just like, I remember getting back from QRF and just grabbing a case of water and just start poking holes in the entire case.
Yep,
just
right.
Straight through the wrapper.
Yeah, remember we had to clean out that whole fucking thing?
Oh.
And it was, you'd sweep it out, and dude, it was sand and red just everywhere.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It was awful,
God.
dude.
God damn.
Yeah. They had those Kevlar blankets down in there and all sorts of crazy shit.
Yeah, right.
It was just like, I don't know.
We spent probably 2 hours trying to clean that fucking thing out.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
See, it's wonderful finally being able to talk about this stuff. Like, I do my best to forget this shit,
Right.
But honestly, at the same time, this is wonderful being able to just get it out and off.
Yeah, man. See, and
God.
I'm so glad that you say that because that's exactly why we do this.
No, right. And, honestly, man, like, how everybody says, you keep your mouth shut. You don't talk about your fucking experiences, unless it's to your brothers. And I've found that, I've utilized a lot of our brothers, but talking about it helps, man. It just, it releases it,
Yep.
And that's why I'm so thankful you guys gave me a call and was like, hey, come on tonight, man. I mean, if nothing, it was going to be great catching up with you guys and talking, but this is therapy almost, like it's a wonderful thing. So I really appreciate you guys giving us this opportunity to sit and talk, and it's wonderful. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Very cool. Glad to be able to make it happen. Glad to have you here.
Dude, absolutely.
This is awesome, yeah.
This is our Marine Corps, all of the above, man. I mean, this is Mike always says it this way. It's the heart and soul of it,
Yep.
You got some other avenues that we go down where it's a different hat we have to put on, but like this is the meat and potatoes,
Oh, absolutely, man.
Absolutely. It's one of these things where it's like, what I do is I put it in the back of my brain. Our experiences, they're always there. I feel the exact same way you do as far as it is a therapeutic thing. And I do the business thing all day long, and that's a heck of a lot of fun, whatever. But, like, some of my favorite times in the world are just sitting down and being able to just bullshit with Marines.
Oh, yeah.
And it's weird because it's one of these things where it's like, truthfully, you just don't get it unless you were there.
Right. No, absolutely. Dude, I after we got back from our first tour, I went and visited my old elementary school. And my elementary school librarian was a Marine during Nam.
Wow.
And yeah, like hardcore motherfucker. Well, he'd come and he would talk to, I remember being in high school, he'd come up to our high school and talk about his experiences. And he goes, I'll never forget what he told us when I was a high schooler. He goes, this is stuff I don't really talk about a lot, but, I keep it locked up in a suitcase in the back of my head. And then when I need to come talk about it, I'll take it out. But as soon as I'm done talking about it, I put it away again, And then coming back from Iraq that first time and talking to him, like we sat down in my old elementary school library.
Ugh.
And we sat, and he put off like 3 hours of classes. He was just like, go sit in the corner. He told the kids, go sit in the corner and read. And him and I just sat and we talked and bullshitted about the Marine Corps and, like what Nam was like and what Iraq was like and how similar and how unalike they were,
Right.
And it was, it's just amazing, you can talk to, I can talk to you guys because you guys were there, and we can have the same stories, but it's amazing how we can connect to the previous generations and how much the suck still sucked.
Yeah.
You see some old pictures like of some World War II Marines holding bazookas in front of their dicks, like it's like, you know what I mean? You're like, yeah. Yep. That's our heritage. Mm-hmm. I recognize that instantly.
Marines are Marines, man.
You'll like this one. I was at RDU, the airport here in Raleigh.
Okay.
And I see this gentleman sitting down. He's got an Eagle Globe and Anchor on his baseball cap, and it says Korea. And so I walked up and I said, "Sir, I'm a fellow Marine, and I just want to say thank you for your service." Shake his hand. And he's like, "Where'd you serve?" And I told him, Iraq and Afghanistan. And he goes, "Huh?" And I was like, "Korea, huh?" And he goes, "Yeah, cold." And I was like, "Yeah, Iraq and Afghanistan." He's like, "Hot." It just, we shook hands and that's it. Wound up
Right.
going to our own flights. It was just cold. Yeah.
Cold.
Iraq, Afghanistan. Hot.
But it's weird. That's all that has to be said.
Yep.
I mean, you can appreciate the chosen few. And yet, you talk to Marines that were there or World War II Marines. And, dude, they wouldn't trade a minute to be in our shoes, to carrying the 100-pound packs and the freaking flaks and, all the crew serves and all that stuff. I mean, I've talked to some old World War II vets. They were like, dude, I would never want to be a Marine these days. It's like, are you kidding me? I would have never wanted to be a Marine back in World War II. Right. There's no way I would have wanted to run onto a beach like that, And they're like, no, it was completely easier than what you guys do, humping around all this shit and going up and down hills and 120-degree heat and all this shit. I was, you just look at each other and you're just going, I would never want to be in your shoes. I would never want to be in your shoes. But at the same time, yep. we all bleed green no matter what.
Oh, dude. All right. You remember those badass challenge coins we got after the first tour?
Yeah. I still got mine.
So I was at home at the Legion, and I had tapped it on the bar, and this old crusty salt dog taps his, right? And we let him drop. Iwo Jima is this guy's freaking challenge coin. It's fucking chewed up like the dog had it and shit like that. And I was like, well, yours is a little beat to hell. He goes, yeah, it took shrapnel. And I was like, oh, mine's brand new. I haven't lived long enough for it to take shrapnel. And so he goes, it looks like I'm buying the beers. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You stormed the beaches at Iwo Jima with a fucking cartridge belt, an M1, and like a goddamn E-tool. Right? And he was like, yep, fast and light. And he said exactly like what you said. He was like, you motherfuckers are like walking tanks with these things and shit. He's like, there's no way. There's no way. He goes, my fucking old knees buckle just thinking about that shit. Ugh. And he's like, the desert and the smell over there. No thanks. I had a fucking beach and shit. I was storming Pacific beaches, okay? When we were done killing all those fucking nips, we turned around and enjoyed the view. And I was just like, yes! Oh my God.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh. It's just so fucking Marine.
Oh, right. So who bought the beers?
You know what? He did.
Really?
Yeah. I wound up buying him a shot later, though.
Oh, there you go.
I got the old man a little tipsy. His wife shows up and goes, are you a Marine? And I said, yeah. And she's like, oh, fuck. All right. Let's go.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was so
awesome,
good.
Man. Well, I was, when I got out, I got asked by an old family friend. She's a fifth grade teacher at a school just up the road. And so she asked me to come and talk to her class. They were she was teaching history. And, she wanted me to come and talk about, my experiences in Iraq and all this stuff. So, sure, why not, go teach these young kids, current history and all this stuff. And so I slapped on my Charlies and I went and talked to the class. And then afterwards I came back, ended up at my dad's coffee shop. And then just down the road, it's a Friday. And in Wisconsin, on Fridays we do fish fries. Mm-hmm. It's a big German thing, and so you go have your fish fry and whatnot. And so just like the next building over is a great place to go have a fish fry. It's an old bar where you can still smoke in the bar and go get your fish fry and all this stuff. And there's probably like 60 people at the bar, dude. And I walk in wearing my Charlies. I'm completely Marine Corps regs. I've got a shave, fresh haircut, and I'm looking like I was still in. And dude, nobody would let me leave that bar without buying me a drink. Dude,
That's fantastic.
I walked out of that bar. I don't know how the fuck I walked out of that bar. But I walked out of it on my own 2 feet. My dad probably had to help me out of there, but you know, it's an amazing thing. You know, I had a couple of vets come up and talk to me, and you know, this was 10 years ago, you know, so I don't really remember exactly what everybody said, but it was a good time, man.
Hell yes.
It's nuts. But that's crazy, dude.
Hell yes.
You got a fucking EO junk.
Hell yes. Well, I remember one time I had to go home for something where I had to wear my alphas. Can't remember why. But anyhow, there was a bar next to this place in downtown where I'm from, and just a little downtown. I come from a place, Midland, Michigan. There's only like 80,000 people. It's probably growing now. I don't know. But anyhow, I went in there and I took out my alphas blouse and like draped it over the chair and started playing pool and shit like that. And like shots started showing up on the edge of the pool table, and then like a pitcher, and then like I like didn't notice that the waiter and waitresses were like coming with beers and stuff. And I'm looking, I'm like, what the hell is all of this stuff? And I look up, and there's this group of people that was there for like a party. Don't know what they were celebrating or whatever. Maybe it was a work function. But everybody just kind of like raised their glasses. I was like, dude, this is fucking crazy. I had like 6 or 7 shots and like a pitcher of beer. You know? I was like, oh, all right, I better call a cab or something, you know, before I do this. But dude, it was nuts, man. You know, and I didn't know a single one of those people. They were all just, you know, just office workers or something.
Right. Well, it just goes to show that people do support us, man.
Yep.
They're not, you know, like everybody thinks we're hated and, you know, not appreciated. And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a hug from a random stranger.
Yeah.
Thanks. You know, I mean, and it means a lot, man. And those are the things you got to keep in mind. Is like, I don't know. I mean,
yep.
especially currently with, dude, I couldn't believe when I woke up. Was it Saturday or Sunday? When I heard Ramadi got taken over by ISIS.
Yep.
What the fuck? What the fuck, dude?
Well, and that goes hand in hand with what we're talking about here, because, you know, it ties in also. We're affiliated to a website called bloodstripes.com, something that we're very passionate about.
Awesome website.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
Awesome website.
But yeah, we what we do is we're coming together and just as contributors, we add our lessons learned to whether it's Marine Corps order or just doctrine in general. It can be on anything as benign as like uniforms and how to set them up, you know, professional development and the like. But my biggest thing that I'm passionate about is marksmanship, because I was combat marksmanship trainer at Quantico.
Yeah.
And, you know, and adjacent to that, I guess you could say, is what we did while we were in Ramadi. I mean, not too many units went back to Ramadi. You know, that was kind of a unique thing to have happen, an entire battalion rotating back there.
Right. Well, we were one of 2 battalions that rotated back to Ramadi a second time.
Yes, I believe you're correct.
Yep. I think was it 3-8 or 2-7? I can't remember.
I am not.
I think one of those 2 were the only other battalion that made 2 pumps in Ramadi.
See, and so there you have it. There's just an entire wealth of knowledge that's there for that specific battlefield. You know,
right.
The way that it's shaping up to be is that eventually the Marine Corps is going to wind up going back into that battle space. We all know that. You know, and
yep.
that's the unfortunate sad sad truth. It's the crossroads of shitheads, I guess you could say, that just mix and match in and around that area. And anyhow, the biggest thing is we left too soon. We understand that. I mean, from my own point of view, I went there as a Marine specifically with the intention of Sadaam's regime needed to be thrown over.
Right.
And then on the second tour, my mind was more on our mission in the fact that we needed to, bring back, remember how
rebuild.
Right. And we would sit in cordons. Remember how we went around and blew the fuck out of all the sewers that were in Ramadi in 2005? And then we sat in cordons and watched the Egyptians repair all those same fucking sewers.
Yep. Well, tell me about it, man. It's weird. It's kind of weird for me to say this, as the first month I was with Red, and we blew the shit out of them. We killed every bad guy we came across. We destroyed that city. We brought it down to its fucking knees.
Yep.
As a battalion, but Red was a part of that. And then on my second tour, I was lucky enough to be with Vlad, and we were in charge of PSD. So we had the governor, we had the sergeant major, we had the battalion commander. We were in charge of really, rebuilding the city.
Yep.
People ask me all the time, well, what did you accomplish while you were over there? And it's like, well, have you ever seen an 18-year-old girl go to school for the first time?
Right. Yes.
They don't understand that. Like, I literally facilitated, or we facilitated in some way, shape, or form, women going to school for the very first time. We facilitated the rebuilding. We facilitated their sewer system, their trash, their
Bridges.
Their bridges, their hospitals, all of that stuff. We tore a city down on the first tour, and the second tour we were lucky enough to watch it start to get rebuilt.
That was, in my opinion, that is a very cathartic aspect of what we got to go through. I mean, it sucked having to go to Ramadi twice, especially since the second one was slow and not what we would want out of a combat deployment. But we did get to see it from a completely different angle.
Absolutely.
And it was a little bit cathartic in that sense. It was like, all right, I don't know, seeing both of those angles really gave me a little bit of a
boost,
It gave closure is what it did.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, there you go. That's the perfect word.
That's what I was
It
trying
put a
to
bow
get at.
on it. Because it was like, dude, they were running a marathon through it. We had Alaska barriers that created. There were 2 LZs across the street from Gov Center. It was crazy by the time we were done in there.
Right.
It was. I don't know. It was just a different way of doing it. See, and
well, we talk about this now on the heels of the city falling again. I don't know. I mean, I feel like we led that horse to water, and it's kind of like it just refused to drink. It's like,
well, it drank for a little bit, but then it stopped. I mean,
it's like,
and unfortunately, I mean, at least from my perspective, you have to ask yourself, for what? Why is Tapia gone? Why is Swanberg gone? Why are the 14 Marines that we lost that first tour, what did they die for?
right.
And from a Marine Corps standpoint, you could say that they died for us so that we may live, so that we can carry on their tradition, so that we can carry on their memory, but when you really take a look at hard facts, why did they die? What was the point? What was achieved? And that's a hard question to answer. Again, it goes back to, we rebuilt a city. We helped them get on their feet, and then the people themselves couldn't hold it. The Iraqi army itself couldn't couldn't stand. You know, even though we trained them and we gave them the equipment and the training and the knowledge that we had, they
well,
didn't
that's the
take
thing
it.
is, I mean, you see these guys that have taken over, and it's like it's a matter of motivation more than training, in my opinion, because it's the same people.
Right.
It's out of the same population that those guys rose, and so it's just like, why have so little identity as a people that you can't defend yourselves? I don't fathom it. It doesn't make sense
Well,
to me.
you know, in again, my opinion, it kind of comes down to their culture. You know, they've been at war for thousands of years, yet they're a lazy people. You know, I mean, how reluctantly did they train? How many IPs signed up to become police officers just for a paycheck?
Right.
They didn't do it to protect their country. They didn't do it to protect their city. They didn't do it for anything other than money.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're doing it for those reasons, those are the wrong reasons. You know, we signed up for the Marine Corps because we knew it was right. We're willing to back our country. You know, we take pride in our flag. We take pride in our country. You know, we're willing to defend that to the absolute end. And I don't feel that those people really had that. They didn't care. They don't care who rules over them, or, you know, what person was put above them. They didn't care. As long as they were getting paid, it doesn't make a difference. You know, I mean, you take a look at the Iraqi army fleeing Ramadi. I mean, they had those F-150s freaking pinned to the floor, and they were hauling out of there as fast as they possibly could. Right. With our Humvees and our guns and our ammunition and everything we gave them. You know, they didn't give a shit about that fucking city.
Yeah.
They didn't care about Iraq at that minute. They cared about their own lives, whereas we saw the bigger picture. You know, my life is not worth the sacrifice of the country, of our country. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Any one of us was willing to die for any other Marine. To this day, any one of us would go back to save Tapia, to save Bedard, to save any one of those 14 Marines that died. We'd willingly, in a heartbeat, trade our lives so they could live one more day. And they don't have that. They just look out for themselves.
You know, that's my biggest thing is I'm one of these guys that just got to look forward. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those where it's like you got hit by an IED, slam that fucking gas pedal, and get off the X.
Right.
So it's like, you know, and what we're talking about here is the dangerous game, and I wrote an article about this a post on LinkedIn about this recently. It was just yesterday, called Flags Over Ramadi. And the thing is, and in there I recount a story specifically. I don't know if you remember this, but it was like 2 weeks into our first deployment. I was sitting on post. You remember that post in ECP North all the way down at the end of the hall? It was like post 4 or whatever. You were alone and unafraid out there on the wing.
Was that the one that overlooked the Palm Grove and the water treatment facility?
Yes.
Above the
Yep.
pisser.
But it was like 2 weeks in. There was an Iraqi police officer who was doing a show of force with his AK, and I was kind of like peering around the window trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And all of a sudden it was like, snap, pow. And I like look to my left, and there's sand trickling out of like this perfect hole. Right? And I'm just like, holy fucking shit. And then kind of like come to my senses, pop back into the post. I mean, it was stupid for me to be leaning in any aspect anyhow. But I remember I was sitting there and I was like, post 4 just received contact. And LT was like, what? Winds up coming down there, and he sees the sand pouring out of the sandbag, and somebody had heard a snap. I think it was somebody in the VCP down below. But I just remember sitting there going, like, any opinion that I had before does not fucking matter. Like,
Doesn't apply.
Right. Like, I am not an expert on geopolitics. I can't cure everything from where I'm sitting on that front line, but I can maintain that position on the front line and do the very best job that I can at that moment of time what I'm doing. It's like whenever you dismount, do the sniper dance. If everybody's doing the sniper dance, everybody's going to be fine. If one guy stops moving, that guy's going to drop.
Right.
So anyhow, that's one of the things that I'm passionate about is, like, providing sea stories and lessons learned and some of these things that we had to deal with, so that way these future generations of guys, because that another group of guys just like us, is like at a turning point in their life. Maybe they're even looking at going onto the yellow footprints. You know what I'm saying? And they're going, what are we going to encounter? Like, I didn't know what the fucking IED was.
Nope.
I had no idea. I saw that shit on the news the first time, and my fucking jaw hit the floor. I was like, holy shit, I gotta go through that? You know what I mean? And then when we were actually overseas doing it, it was like, my God, I did not realize the ratio of IEDs that we were going to encounter. We found, as a CAT team on our first deployment, like 257 of them. Remember that shit?
Yep.
Like, my God, man. We had a 155 shell as a cigarette butt can behind our hooch.
I remember that.
So it's like...
And you know what I would tell those guys that are thinking about stepping on those footprints? Watch your 5, 10s, and 20s and keep moving.
Yep.
Don't stand still. I think that's honestly, to this day, so my brother and sister just graduated college this past Saturday. And my brother took me aside and he goes, the best piece of advice I've ever learned from anyone is from you. I was like, oh shit, what the hell did I tell you one night when I was drunk? And I was like, what did I tell you? And he goes, improvise, adapt, overcome.
Nice.
I was like, really? Like, he goes, that has gotten me. My brother's severely dyslexic, severely, like, learning disabled, like, very, very badly. And, to see this kid graduate from college, like, is honestly, it's a fucking miracle. I thought he'd be a ditch digger by now, but he's graduating with a degree in physical education. He's going to be a teacher. He's got a great career ahead of him.
That's awesome.
He's doing really well. But to be told that the best piece of advice he's ever received was improvise, adapt, overcome. I was like, well, obviously I learned something, and I'm glad I could pass it on,
Right.
And honestly, if you take that to heart, you can get through anything. Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But you can get through anything. It doesn't matter what it is.
Well, Mike, what do you always say?
What's that? Which one?
About life?
This is all right. Yes, and it holds true. The Marine Corps taught you everything you need to know. That's just they teach you how to shit. They teach you how to piss. They teach you how to shower. You got to shave your buddy's face. Like they teach you everything from square one how you need to live your life. It works out. It works out. You don't need to be a fucking robot.
Nope.
You know what I mean? It's just as you had said, improvise, adapt, and overcome. It teaches you everything that you need to know.
Absolutely.
Then I'm telling you what, fire team and Marines, you can take over the world.
Goddamn right.
With a tin can and a toothpick.
Shoot, move, communicate.
Shoot, move, communicate.
RTR. Return fire, take
Shoot,
cover, return
move,
accurate fire.
Communicate. Gather army gear. Adjust.
Acquire. Just acquire.
Acquire. We acquire. We don't steal shit. A Marine never lies, cheats, or steals.
Exactly.
We acquire.
It's like when you're at the armory and you see that AP brush or something, right? And you're like, is this yours? Is this yours? Right? See,
honestly, tonight I feel kind of bad, man. We've kind of left Sebastian out of all this, man. I feel like it's been a Cat Red reunion. Dude. We've kind of left White out of this whole thing tonight.
Oh, no worries. Walter's, Mike and I were in Cat White the second deployment. We were reminiscing before you got on here.
Oh yeah, good to go.
Yeah, it was you three for Cat Red, us three for Cat White. I mean, we covered half of that, you know.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, then I'm the lone second tour Cat Black guy.
There you go.
We got to get a Quarter Real or
there you go.
Jones.
That's what we're doing now is we're having these conversations, these hilarious talks that are cathartic and meaningful to us, and we're hoping that it's meaningful to others as they listen to us. Either that, or if they get pissed off, they can suck it. You know, any number of opportunities there.
Yeah, if you didn't earn it, you ain't worth the time, anyways. But anyway, this past it's kind of funny. I've been dating my girlfriend for going on 2 years now, and we're finally. The reason I'm back in Wisconsin is to pick up all her shit and move her out to Colorado with me.
Nice.
But last summer, just before we started our summer jobs here in Wisconsin, I took her. Jones invited pretty much everybody out to Michigan. And only about 6 of us showed up. It was me, Terrell, Sanderson, Kreutz, Fannin, Jones, Simon was there.
That's a pretty good showing, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. And I'm the only one who brought their girlfriend, other than Jones, who had his wife at their house. And my girlfriend's pretty good at giving massages, and so I'd always ask her for a massage before she met all the guys and all this stuff. And I'm always tense and all this stuff. And while we're hanging out with everybody, at Jones's place, dude, she tries to give me a massage, and she goes, "You were the most relaxed you've ever been in since I met you." And it's like, well, I'm among family.
Yeah, and there's a true sense of security about it.
And, right. I mean, there's nothing bad's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen. I've got 7 Marines next to me. It's the most beautiful thing in the world, honestly. It's the most calming, and I don't know. It's
people are
like
blown away by that. People are absolutely taken back by it because they just can't understand it.
Right. Well, I haven't talked to Juslin in probably 3, maybe 4 years.
No, dude.
Was that like 2 years ago?
It was 1.5 years ago, brother.
Was it really?
Yeah, man.
You guys are really fucked up.
Oh, we were pretty drunk.
Yeah, apparently. Well, I haven't talked to Penny since I lived in Boulder, and that was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Because we've only had a few texts here and there.
Yeah, right. But it's amazing how we can pick it up and talk it like it was yesterday, Yep, absolutely.
That's because this is the venue for opening up like that, or not. Like, let me rephrase this. With your brothers, it's the only time that guard is let down, like you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the biggest.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing, man. Is we just got to create like a platform. You know what I mean? This is what we're all about: is having a platform where we can come together and. I mean, Marines are going to listen.
Right.
And so we want to hang out. So it's one of these things where it's like anytime we get in front of the microphone, we make it a point to say that, like, you know, we are talking to Marines.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not
And
only...
Go ahead, sorry.
Well, you know, it's not only a demographic, it literally is our family and who we're trying to, you know, openly draw in order to join in on the conversation. It's not just subscribe, rate, and review the podcast to, you know, boost numbers and all of these other things. It's because we want to get everybody engaged in the conversation.
Absolutely, and it's definitely not just 3-7 Marines. It's not 3-7 Marines from 04 to 08. It's, you know, I mean, any Marine will sit here and listen to this shit, you know, and can relate, you know. You know, we're here for any Marine that needs it, you know. And like you said, we're family. It doesn't matter what unit you were with or what time you served or where you went. It's just, it's a family, and we're here for each other, you know. I'd talk to anybody from 2-7 or 1-7 or 3-5 or 2-9 or whatever the hell.
Even 3-4.
Even fucking 3-4.
Even bastard children of the Marine Corps.
You know,
what is it? What 1-9? The Walking Dead.
yes. Yep.
Even the Walking Dead, man. Come on, dude. Talk to us. We're here. Doesn't matter what.
You know, it's funny. I don't know if you've ever met this character named Sergeant Major David Devaney, but this guy is good shit. I got to serve with him when I was at Weapons Training Battalion in Quantico. He's been all over the Corps, been a trigger puller his whole career. Recently retired, I want to say 3.5 years ago. But
Give him one.
And so he's such a great guy and such a character, and his personality fills the room and all of this other stuff. Inherently a Marine. So he had gotten back to me on some of the feedback, and he goes, you know, Mike, and I'm sure that you already know this, but he goes, you know, Mike, in some of your tags down at the bottom here, I noticed that it says Marine, but it's spelled with a lowercase m. And he made it a point to email me. I love this about Marines, because this is fantastic. He goes, Marine is a pronoun. It is a pronoun. Right. It is a human being. It is. Right. We're the only ones who wear 2 families on our chest. Okay? You know, it doesn't say U.S. soldiers on their name tape. You know? It's, So that's yet another point of pride, is that when you are calling somebody Marine, you are saying that by name. You know, and that's something that a lot of people can't necessarily grasp. Like, no, I am a Marine. I used to be a sergeant.
Right. Well, dude, you know, a soldier's not an army. An airman's not an Air Force. A sailor's not a Navy. But a Marine is a Marine.
Right.
And that's it. You know, it doesn't matter what unit. It doesn't matter what rank. A Marine's a Marine, period. That's it. That's a beautiful thing, man. A beautiful thing.
Hell yes. And now we get to cock back and chill and puff on cigars and bullshit with all of our buddies.
Hoorah.
Yep. Oh, good Lord. I'm telling you, there are way shittier things to do in the world.
Oh, dude. Way shittier. Trust me, I've done them.
Oh, that's right.
Dude,
oh, man.
Dude, so I was living in Colorado, as I still do, and I was at a buddy's house one night. We were hanging out, you know, and these kids would play Call of Duty for fucking hours and hours and hours, dude. I mean, they'd play till like 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. It was annoying how much these kids play Call of Duty, but a friend of a friend had gotten invited over. And we were just kind of sitting, hanging out, you know, drinking some beers and having a good time. And I just made an offhand comment to one of my really good friends who was not in the service, but you know, he's running around on the screen. You know, he's got his M4 or his M16A2 and, you know, his flak and all this stuff. You know, his ACOG, whatever on Call of Duty. And I was, you know, he's running around. I go, hey, that was the same setup I had in Iraq. you know, M16-2 with an ACOG and blah, 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 whatever. And the friend of a friend, he goes, wait, you in Iraq? I was like, yeah, I went over a couple times and whatever. I tried to play it off. I really don't like talking about it too much. And he goes, who are you with? 3-7. He goes, oh, dude, I was in 2-1. We were in Ramadi a couple tours after you. It was just like, no shit. And then we ended up becoming friends, roommates. We moved to Boulder together. We stuck it out for like 2 years.
That's awesome, man.
It's an amazing thing. I made one offhand comment, and then all of a sudden, you made a.
That's what every Marine says as well. Is who are you with?
Yep.
Right.
Like nobody else says that.
Right.
Like, hey, who you
exactly.
Yep.
Who are you with? When were you over there?
Yep. When were you in country?
Yeah, right.
It's just the biggest gang on the planet, dude.
Oh, it really is. It really is. Yep, it's a phenomenal club. Oh,
the best gun club in the world, man.
Hell yes. We we're at Walmart, right? We went walking into Walmart the other day, and I see this cat. He's got on some sort of, I don't know how to put it, like, I don't know, fake polo shirt, I guess you could say.
Oh, dude.
And he's wearing Marine trousers. And cami trousers. And
Marine
Army
cami
Ultimas.
trousers, Army Ultimas, and a polo shirt.
Yep.
How big of a
And
fucking
he was
this
bloused as well.
So right, and he's got him bloused, but he's got it bloused like where you take the boot strings and like blouse it with the boot strings, right? Not like boot bands or anything. So he like
he was just asking for free shit.
Oh Jesus! So anyhow, we were walking in. He was walking out. I don't know. I was wearing some ball cap, maybe like a veteran shirt. And I look at him and was like, hey, brother, were you in the Corps? Trying to like, hey, let's link up, whatever. And he looks at me, he's like, no, I was going to join, but like, I got this shoulder problem and stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. Just wind up, like rolling my freaking cart away. He was walking out into the parking lot anyhow, but it's like, God's honest truth, if he was in full camis, I probably would have tackled his ass and beat the fuck out of him. But, like, you want to wear cami pants and stuff like that, all right, cool. But you look like a giant fucking jackass in public right now. You know what I mean? You are being retarded and in public. Okay? Like, you don't want to do those two things.
He went full retard.
He went full retard. He did. It happened.
So, like I said, my brother and sister both graduated college on Saturday. I was making my way from Colorado to Nebraska, where they both graduated from. And we had stopped at the airport. We picked up my sister and her husband and her my sister's best friend, and driving to Nebraska. And we just got over the Colorado-Nebraska line, and we stopped at a Taco Bell. And I'm housing tacos, like it's my fucking job. And we sit down and having a good time and talking and all this stuff. And then I kind of made a sideward glance to the group of guys that were sitting right next to me, or us. And there's a guy, and I saw his forearm. It said Semper Fidelis on it. I was like, well, obviously this guy's got to be a Marine. And I went up to him and hey, shook his hand. Hey, brother, how you doing? What's up? Semper Fi. And he goes, the first time it's like really ever happened, you shake a Marine's hand, you say Semper Fi. And I finally got an oorah out of it. It was just like, all right, hey, when'd you get out? And he goes, oh, I got out in 2010. I was like, okay, so you went in 06. I was like, well, nice to meet you, Devil Pup. And he goes, yeah, hoorah, senior. All right.
cool, you know, like it's nice to actually finally meet somebody who's honest about it, you know, and knows what the hell he's talking about. He ended up being with Anglico out of Pendleton, and I didn't catch his last name, but he seemed like a pretty straight shooter, and it's nice. But then of course Sanderson and I, we went and caught a concert down in Hollywood one time, and there's this big black fucking bouncer, just yoked out, huge dude, you know, and he's wearing cami trousers and a green skivvy shirt. It's like, hey man, who you with? And he tried to play it off, you know, like, oh yeah, I was in the Marine Corps for like a year and a half and blah blah blah, all this shit, and none of it, you know, what was your MOS and all this stuff, and the guy just couldn't answer a question. And Steve and I just looked at each other. We were just like, this kid's out of it, dude. Like, no fucking way. And, you know, this was before the whole stolen valor thing ever happened. And we debated on kicking this kid's ass, but we were just like, well, fuck it. Let's just drink more beer and go home. Like,
Right.
It's not really worth the time anymore.
Oh, Jesus. These guys, man, I'm telling you. The biggest thing is it's like, it's not, they do it, they fuck their uniform up, they do all sorts of stupid shit to, like, just try to get, like, a free meal, or, like, or, like, a 10% discount or whatever at, like, Fila, and it's like, dude, what the hell is wrong with you?
It really doesn't make any sense. It's like,
No.
how little self-pride can you have, like, to where you're trying to steal someone else's glory?
Right.
Like,
Well, the ironic thing is that if you served, you're not going to wear your fucking PT gear out on town. You're not going to dress in fucking camis. You know, like
Right.
if you come across a Marine, he's going to be in civilian gear, and you're either going to A, notice a haircut, B, maybe a tattoo somewhere, you know, or, you know, you strike up a conversation with somebody and they're like, oh yeah, hey, I was with, you know, such and such unit. It's the people that are wearing the camis, the ones that are, you know, strutting their shit, you know, all this stuff, and they're the fucking fakers out of the whole fucking bunch, you know.
empty can rattles the most.
What's that?
Empty can rattles the most.
Yep.
Well, it kills me. Yeah, man, it's just, anytime something like that ever happens, it just winds up being like, not only are you, in my opinion, like, potentially giving the Marine Corps a bad name, because now a member somebody who is not a member, right, of the club is now walking around. Civilians don't know any better.
Right.
They just think old boy is some jarhead back on the block or some shit like that. Like, you know, it's one of these things where it's like, dude, I understand that it's not illegal, but that human being deserves a serious fucking ass whooping for dressing up like, you know, G.I. Joe for a day just so that he can get a free cheeseburger or whatever.
Right. Well, two things on that. Well, A, now it is illegal.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's completely illegal. Stolen valor is a punishable crime.
Well, no, it had been punishable, and it was repealed because of freedom of speech. That's what I thought happened.
Oh, see, I'm still under the impression that stolen valor is an illegal offense and can be punishable by time in jail and a fine up to a couple, like I think it's a couple $1,000s.
See, I think
I think
you're both right. I think what it is the act of wearing the uniform. Bless you.
Bless you.
I think the act of wearing the uniform is not illegal and rather a free speech. But once you cross the line and start doing the discount thing and the, yeah, I'm a Marine, give me free Applebee's shit,
right,
that's when it becomes illegal.
Okay.
I think that's what I was reading the other day on.
Sure, and that would make
clarifies that
complete sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And correct us if you're wrong, or if we're wrong. You know, if you're listening to the podcast, you know, if we don't know what the hell we're talking about, please correct us on that. But the second thing is, remember Debaki?
Yes.
He was our boot second tour.
Yep.
If I'm still allowed to say boot, I don't know how that works in the new time Marine Corps.
This is.
But did you hear he got busted a private because he brought one of his friends from high school. He was from California. He brought one of his friends from California from high school out onto base, bought him a set of camis, and put a fucking set of second lieutenant bars on the guy's fucking chest. And oh yeah, dude. Debaki got fucking hammered. I think he got
such a terrible idea.
What could possess you to do that?
It's fucking Debaki. The kid was a fucking retard.
May have to edit out that part a little bit.
Yeah, sorry about that if that's a little too offensive.
Yeah. Oh, dear Lord. All right. Hey, unfortunately, brother, we've got to wrap this up. It's 12:30 East Coast time, and it is time to hit the rack.
Good to go.
So that we can be back up bright and early, kicking it on bloodstripes.com, doing all that fun stuff. That legitimately is what we do during the day. We contribute to bloodstripes.com. We answer questions. We do a variety of different things, and then podcast by night. And this is our relaxation time, I guess you could put it, because we just get to hang out and shoot the shit with guys like you. You know,
Amen.
It's cool.
Well, hey man, like I said, I really appreciate the call, and let me come on and talk and catch up with you guys. And anytime you guys want to talk again, just let me know, and
Absolutely.
I'll be on, man.
Absolutely.
And on a personal note, dude, you guys are awesome, and I appreciate everything you're doing. And you know, bloodstripes.com is an amazing website. You guys do a great job, and you know, I'm totally stoked that you guys are supporting veterans and fighting for our cause and trying to get us jobs and career paths. It's a great thing, man. You guys are doing a great job, and I really appreciate it. So anytime you guys want to give me a call, give me a holler, and I'd love to come talk with you.
Very cool. And you're welcome back anytime. Join us.
Much love for you, brother. Much love.
Absolutely. Much love. Anytime. And when we do it, when Amy and I get out to the East Coast, man, we'll be sure to look you guys up.
Yes,
we'll
please
shoot
do.
guns. We'll record live. It'll be good old time.
That'll be a fucking dangerous minute.
Oh, dude. You're welcome anytime out to Fob Invictus. We've always got the guest room open for you guys, and just so that you know, you can discharge rifles from my living room sofa out onto. Think I haven't done that? Oh, let me tell you. So yeah, man, definitely come on out here, spend some time with us.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again. You guys have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Hey,
brother.
Thanks, brother.
Have a good one.
Well, this wraps up another episode of Cigars and Sea Stories. We really appreciate you listening. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Go ahead and join us. Join the conversation on Facebook. Your comments make the show. Your feedback is what we talk about on here. You know, so be a part of the conversation. You know, if you want to sign up and be a guest, by all means, go ahead and hit us up, cigarsandseastories@gmail.com. That's our current address. You can go ahead, drop us a line, and we'll have you on the show. So thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. And you guys take care. Mike and Juslin sit down in the CNS studios to bullshit. Wait a minute. All right, so rolling into the closing